All right, finally happened. Someone here on Earth actually thought that it'd be a good idea to design a version of the moon here on Earth as a building. I've got some details here. So according to Architectural Digest, a Canadian-based company called Moon World Resorts Inc. is actually trying to build a moon in Dubai. Now, if you're wondering what it's gonna be called the Moon, or Moon. And here it says that it is a 735-foot tall mixed-use building in the shape of Earth's only natural satellite. Inside of Moon, there's going to be 300 private residences available for purchase. And then there's some sketches here that look like a UFO is landing on people having dinner, and then it just looks like a 90s mall. And it's all sketched by what seems to be color pencil. This is actually my favorite part, okay? Favorite. So it says that there's 4,000 suites total, right? And none of them are going to have windows, traditional windows. What they envision is electronic windows that give guests the opportunity to look out onto whatever they want. So TVs, they're gonna have TVs in the rooms and no windows. And then there's this diagram here it looks like, I hate to be mean, but it looks like something from like a first year design student. So let's talk about Moon. What do I think about Moon? Moon. I think that Moon is not a good project at all. At the moment, first of all, the renderings, right, are terrible. I think that the sketches are nice. They're obviously someone talented made these sketches, definitely. But to represent a project, I don't think so. It makes it look like it's something that was done back in the 60s or the 70s, and then we're just learning about it in school. Then I hate the idea of the televisions in the room that represent windows. Like, that's one of the worst ideas I've ever heard. I don't understand why that sounds like a good idea to anybody. And finally, there's nothing architectural about this project. It's a podium. That building could be the most basic, cheapest built thing, and then it's encapsulated, and then you have this like moon that sits on top of it. I think I read somewhere that they were going after using a same structure as like the geodesic dome from Buckminster Fuller, and then I haven't seen anything of the cladding, but I assume that it would be some sort of like metal mesh that goes around that has like the imprints, a one-to-one replica, well, not one-to-one, but basically a scale version of the moon. The patterns are printed on to this metal mesh, and then it goes on top of it, and then voila, there you go. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure it'd be a fun project to interact with. Like inside, it would probably be really cool, really high tech. I think what really bothers me about this project is probably how they represented it. Like maybe the people who are working on this project have stuff that's hidden away that actually makes this project worthwhile. But on the surface, whatever they provided to Architectural Digest and whatever I've seen on Google, there's really nothing out there. There's like one rendering that they did that's like really, really bad quality. It's the one where you're outside and you're looking like an aerial view of the moon. It looks dumb. It literally looks like you put a moon in the middle of the city somewhere. Anybody could have done this. Anybody could have gotten a building and then put a circle on top of it, and then they could have said, this is the moon and it's gonna be the best thing ever. And that's it. There's really nothing else. There's some really, like I mentioned, there's some sketches that are actually nice. Like they are, like whoever sketched that is talented, but they don't really represent this project well, in my opinion. It sounds like one of those projects where they're promising a lot, but then nothing so far is being delivered. And then the actual project itself, there's nothing to it. It would be fun to look at, I'm sure, just like everything in Las Vegas is fun, but I don't know, it's just not a cool project to me. I think it's kind of dumb, honestly. And like, I don't even know how this is architectural at all. There was no architectural drawings for it. There's no plans, nothing. Like, I don't even know how this made the news at all, because I'm telling you, it's like I could just come up with a crazy idea. Like, I'm gonna build a giant pigeon, and this pigeon is gonna be full of like the best amenities. And that's what I tell people, and then that makes like headlines. You imagine that? That's kind of like one of the biggest reasons why I got so bothered by this project. It's like, they're just kind of showing me nothing and then telling me that it's going to be the best thing ever. It kind of feels like when I was back at school and I had like a diagram that I worked on that had nothing, and I'm here saying like, oh, this is going to be the best project. You guys just trust me on this. Just a couple more months and you're going to see it's the best project. It's not there yet. It's like, I think that this kind of project requires more of a show rather than a tell. they should come out with some really powerful diagrams showing the cladding, showing how this project is put together, some really nice renderings from the street view, maybe some night renderings, maybe some interior shots of, because they're making also these really big promises of the interior. Let me see if I can find some of that. Yeah, so there's like this one image of this cart that really doesn't show anything. It just says moon, and it's the worst model I've ever seen in my life with it's like some 3D robots. And then it says, hold on tight while you take Moon's hyperspeed shuttle to the lunar surface, some 103 meters AGL. And then it shows like a little rocket ship. Like, what? It doesn't even show how it's interacting. There's like no diagram of this car. They could have just copied this image from Google and then wrote this thing on Instagram, and then it has 67 likes, and it's just crazy to me that people are buying this stuff. And then there's another shot of a lunar rover. It says guest astronauts will be able to explore Moon's authentic lunar colony by foot and by unique hop-on, hop-off lunar rovers. What a ride! Like, what? What does that even mean? I really don't understand what any of this means, and there's no diagrams or anything to show it. It just seems like, oh my God, this all makes sense. You know what this is? Oh my God, it all makes sense all of a sudden. This is probably like one of those moon boys that picked up like a few $1,000,000 from some scheme, like LFG boys, this coin is going to go to the moon. And it actually did kind of go to the moon for them. And so now what they're doing with all this money is they're going to build a moon because LFG. That's at least what it feels like, because there's no plans. There's no actual legit plans. It's all like hype. That's all it is. This project is all hype. To try to take it seriously, I guess for like some constructive criticism here, like what can we say to like help this project out a little bit, right? I mean, it could potentially be a fun project, right? It could, like, look at Disney World, look at the Epcot ball I was trying to think of where the ball of Epcot is, but in Epcot, right? Like you go to Disney and it's all like fake, but it's fun as heck. So perhaps this is going to be one of those projects, right? I'm not saying that. It's probably going to be very luxurious if it actually does happen. It's probably going to be full of really amazing amenities and like spas and, laser tag or like, I don't know, whatever they fit in there. But like from an architectural point of view, like I just don't see it. I don't see anything like that, at least not with what they've shown, I kind of wish that they would have held on to this news until they were better prepared and then release some other stuff, because like right now it's the equivalent of like, I don't know, some random phone company that you've never heard of, this telling you we're going to have the iPhone killer. This phone is going to be so good because it's going to have virtual reality and it's going to teleport you to other planets. And you're like, okay, can you show me something that actually shows that this works? And then they show you like a hand drawing that they did. Like, that's what I feel like looking at this project. So man, I think that's why I got so bothered by this project. So nothing against the project, nothing against the people working on Moon. It is just kind of silly. So I don't know. Hopefully this is just like some sort of marketing stunt to get eyes on them for something else that they're working on.